And I'm Marco. I'm one of the co-founders and a code mentor here at the FirehoseProject. Welcome to the info session. Let's jump straight in. What are we going to do today? So I think I want to cover a lot of things in that half hour, 45 minutes that I have together with you. First of all, I want to run you guys through the core curriculum that we have all our students complete. Like, what are kind of the web applications you're going to build? How's it going to be structured? The first 8 weeks in the program. Then I also want to see, like, how are we customizing the curriculum for people who have an entrepreneurial idea, they want to launch their own startup, and for people who are looking for a job, the job seekers, career seekers, switchers, right? What are we going to do for these guys? Like, what are the different tracks here? And then also, like, going into a little bit more details, how mentorship session work, what's the support that you guys are getting, what are office hours, how do they all work together to support the core curriculum and actually get you where you need to be, which is reaching your personal and professional coding goals. And then also we'll, like, answer one question, which is usually like, what can I do? What kind of skills do I have when I'm coming out of the FirehoseProject program after the 12 weeks? And then at the very end, I'm always answering questions. So right below me, you see a little box. Put your questions in there whenever they pop up. I'm answering them. I'm about 2 minutes ahead of you guys, just letting you know. So when you think of a question, put it in right then and there. And don't wait, because I'm always a little bit ahead. So I might have hung up the Hangout already, and then I'll need to get back to you later. Also, email me your questions. You also all have my email address, so feel free to reach out that way. I've already gotten a few questions from a few right now, so that's awesome. I'm going to get to those as well. Okay, let's jump in. How does the core curriculum work, right? So we're doing web development. First thing we're going to do with all of our students is we want you to build a fully functional web application and ship it live so it's on the internet within 10 hours. That's fast. And we want to do that because that's how startups operate. Ship early, ship often, ship it extremely fast. And those first 10 hours, what you're going to build is a pretty simple app, but it should always look good. It should look good on mobile. It should look good on desktop. It should look good on tablet. That's always the bar. That's always the bar we're having. That's what we're shooting for, right? So if you're at a party, you pull out your phone and you say, hey, look, this is what I coded up last week. Then your friend should always reply with, oh, wow, this looks awesome. You did this? I can't believe it. That's the goal that we're going for. So first 10 hours, we're building what we call a Splurty app. It's an advice splurting generator that shows quotes. So it's nothing too fancy, but what it does, it gives you a 360 view of all the new tools that you're going to learn, right? So you're writing some Ruby code. You're going to learn the Rails web development framework. You're going to use your Postgres database. You're going to use Git for version control, back your code up on GitHub, push it to your server, Heroku, and you're going to learn these things while actually building something that people can use and you can share with your friends. And why is that so important? It's because it puts you in the driver's seat of actually creating, building something, and putting it live so people can use that and people can give you feedback, right? Oftentimes people would get back. These are your friends, your family. They would come back and say, hey, can I have upload buttons? And you might be like, I don't quite know how to do that yet. But it shows you the power of building something. Really important for the motivation. Okay, first 10 hours up, you did the first application, right? We do usually a code check-in, do a little bit of code critique and help you out improving that. Then we put you up to the next level. That's where we want you to build a Yelp clone. When I say Yelp clone, you're already thinking about, oh, wow, the real Yelp clone? Yeah, that's it. We're going to build that in about maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks with you, depending how fast you run through. So when I'm thinking about a Yelp clone, I think the most important feature for us to learn is how to write the Ruby code to take an address that the user puts into a form field and enters, translate that into longitude and latitude coordinates, take those coordinates, pass it to the Google Map API, and get that pin back on the map. And that's what we need to learn, right? But that wouldn't be really a useful application. So we need to add additional features, right? Obviously, you can create a place. So if I have a pizza place, no, I don't, let's do a milkshake place because I really love milkshakes. So if I had my milkshake place and I would put it on my awesome Yelp clone, right? People could go there and give me ratings. They could do comments, right? So we have star ratings, we have user comments. And obviously, if you guys came in to my milkshake place and gave me a good rating, I probably would know about that. So we need to build automated email notifications into our application too. Then what I want as an owner, I want to have a dashboard where I can see some analytics of my average ratings for my awesome milkshake place. Also want to see all the comments that I've gotten, how many places I have. Maybe I have multiple locations for my awesome milkshake place, right? So those are all the things that we're going to build. And then we pack that, and that's one web application that people actually use. And now students are customizing those web applications. So let's say Rehan over in London in the UK, right? He and his son have a lot of places they love visiting together in London. Things, attractions for kids, right? His son is like, I don't know how old he is, but pretty young. Let's say 5 years old, right? There's a lot of attractions in London. So he catalogs them out on his own Yelp clone. And now other people can go there and start commenting on it. And you can already see like how he uses the application for something that he's passionate about that is really useful for other people, right? Or for example, like Brian, he used the Yelp clone to can map out all the best CrossFit gyms across San Francisco and New York, right? So people now are using that to give their feedback and which personal trainer and which classes and so forth. Those are really interesting things that people are using, the skills that they learn in week like 3, 4 with us already in building applications that other people are using, right? Now we move on. Next application is one step up. We build an online learning platform. And when I say platform, that already involves different kind of user roles, right? If you think about online learning, you can think about something like a Udemy platform or a Skillshare platform. There's going to be instructors, they build courses, there's going to be users who buy those courses, right? Before we go more into buying and credit card, which we need to have through that platform, let's think about those different user roles, right? So we need to track that on a database level, a relationship level. Who's an instructor? Who's a student? Who purchased which course from which instructor, and who paid who, and how does the money flow, right? So we're already seeing like how important tracking different levels of users on a database level is. And that's what we're going to learn. That's really powerful because it powers almost all web applications out there with different user roles, right? And then if I say payments, we obviously need to integrate with the payment API to accept credit card payments on our platform. We're using Stripe, so that's something really important because a lot of applications out there, the user got to pay for one thing or the other, so we integrate with the Stripe API. So besides that, we also introduced JavaScript and jQuery in that lesson. And that's because that's right when you need it. We're building something that you can use immediately with JavaScript. So in that example, we're taking the instructor, the lessons that they're going to build, and we actually use JavaScript to build a drag and drop interface, right? People can reorganize the sections of their courses, the lessons of their individual sections, and they can reorganize them a lot quicker by using JavaScript, a drag and drop feature, than they could do otherwise. So right when you need it, we introduce that skill that you need to build a real feature, a big user experience improvement than before. So that's the third application, right? The Splurdy, the Yelp clone, and now the online learning platform. That should take you about anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. And that already ramps it up pretty steep on the skill level. And now it depends where you want to go, right? Let's focus, there's 2 things. Entrepreneurs building their own ideas, people who look for a job, the job seekers. Let's focus on the people who look for a job first. What we generally do is we put you on a group project at that point. So you'll be together with several other students and you're working on a group project together. So you're coding collaboratively. That's really important because the best software out there in the world is always built by great teams. Knowing how to code on a team and not just together with your mentor or by yourself is really, really crucial. If you think about it from a hiring manager's perspective, that person is going to be like, well, do you actually have an impact? Can you help my team on day one? And you can because you already know how to critique code, how to get critique, how to improve your code, how to take somebody else's code and improve it and ship that improvement and working together with other people. Those are key skills that you have to have if you work on any web development team. So rather for you to wait until you sit in a chair at a desk, at a cool startup, at a tech company, get those skills already with us in the program, right? So you have weekly meetings for your team project, for your group project. You have your mentor helping you out, working through the challenges of the group project. So just an example, what do people are building, right, in the group project? So one thing I'm really excited about is they're building a chess game, right? So we're thinking about, it's a lot of Ruby code that we need to write to track how do the individual pieces on a chess game actually move across the field, and how are we tracking that on a database level so we know which figure got kicked out when and by who, right? We need to track all that. And just because some people might think like, well, that's not that exciting, One of our students over in LA just had an interview, and the interview question was, how would you design, on a coding level, a chess game? And his answer was, funny you should ask. I just built one together with my group project over at the Firehose Project. Let me open my computer and show you exactly which parts of the code I've written and how I helped other people and what I got to teach. And you can already see like how the dynamics in a technical interview when you want to land a job switches over when you have such projects to show off and actually show how you interacted with other people, build something collaboratively, because all the hiring managers, all the developers that will interview you know that this is the real world, and they see the benefit of that skill that you already brought to the table before you even started in the job. So that's the job seekers, right? Now, what about for people who want to build their own application? We do pretty much the same thing. You together with your mentor, we're going to break down your idea and we start wireframing it out. So that is, we draw with pencil and paper or digital tools, and we figure out what is every individual screen, what's the user experience when somebody goes through your application. Then the next step is we break in all these features down into individual coding components. And then you can take everything you learned from the first 8 weeks and apply that to your own project, and together with your mentor, you can launch that. So what have people built, right? I think the most popular one is what Steven did. He built an on-demand medical marijuana delivery platform, similar to Uber. You want to smoke, you go to his platform, you can order whatever you need, and you see a car moving on the map to your doorstep, you walk down, you grab your little bag, you're good to go, right? Pretty awesome thing that he built. He's launching that in early 2015. I just got an email from him yesterday. So that's pretty awesome. What have other people built? Other people love horse racing, right? So they built an analytics platform that tells people how to bet smarter on horse race tracks, right? Lots of analytics going on there, but actually doesn't exist right now. And I know nothing about horse racing, but those people are really passionate about, not only do they map out where the best horse race tracks are, but they also have betting sheets that they can print out before they go there for the weekend to bet on those horses. That's pretty much how we split up people depending on their individual goals, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about how the support system works, right? Obviously, there's mentorship sessions, one-on-one, right? There's office hours, there's a Q&A forum. I always like to start with explaining what the question and answer forum is. And oftentimes people tell me, oh, the Q&A forum, whatever, that exists everywhere. But it's really key how we're using the Q&A forum in conjunctions with the mentorship sessions. And that really sets us apart from a lot of the other programs. So hear me now. Q&A, right, is basically you code on Thursday night and you run into an error message. And you're trying to go through the regular steps that we've given you, help yourself, and you can't quite figure it out, right? You can take a screenshot of your error message, you put it in the Q&A forum, within several hours, you have a reply and you have an answer back. It's like, hey, you know, on line 27 on that index HTML file, you missing a comma, put it there, you're good to go, right? These are the small things that oftentimes trip you off when you're starting out, and it makes you bang your head against the wall for hours, right? You have a forum, you get rid of those. That then also means when you arrive at the mentorship session with me or the other mentors, you're error-free. We don't need to spend any time going over small things like, hey, a semicolon missing here, you need an equal sign over here. We can take care of all of this. So during the mentorship session, we can go a lot deeper and accelerate your coding skills, right? For example, we can show you how to do test-driven development. We can start writing tests with you right then and there. We actually have a full module that goes very deep into test-driven development, and so, which is something that you absolutely need when you're on the job. And also when you build your own web application, I highly suggest writing software tests to make sure that your application works the whole time and doesn't break without you knowing it when you make a change to it. So writing that is really important. So we usually give you that module before to learn on your own, and then in the mentorship session, we build on top of that. So we pair program. I actually write some code, and you see how I'm writing it, and then I challenge you to write some code that builds on top of that. And that's where the real learning comes in, and that's where those step equations come in, where you start at a certain level, and the mentorship session will open up so many doors for you that you end up at the next level after the mentorship session. So mentorship sessions are once a week. We usually try to not break them up and have a full hour with you. Some people break them up, half hour here, half hour there, but we usually found if you spend about 2 days preparing for the mentorship sessions and preparing everything that we've given you in those mentorship sessions, we can really move far and really build something that matters to you. Build another feature on top of an existing application, or go really deep on one skill that you need. Same goes with preparing you for the technical interview process. That's where mentorship sessions really come in, right? A team of our students, they build a platform to actually training people and quizzing them for the technical interview process, right? You can also, again, did that as a group project. You can see how that changes the technical interview process if you can show projects that are that deep and complicated to people that are interviewing you. Not only does it open doors for you, but it also shows the breadth of the knowledge that you have. Okay, office hours, right? We want to meet with our students. All of the students, bring them together. This is a group effort after all, learning the code. So we have weekly office hours where all our students come. And that's, since we're starting new students every Monday, something really interesting happens during the office hours. It's like, if you just start out, right, you get a student who's in like week 8 or 9 asking really challenging technical questions, and the mentors are there to help. But you can maybe not quite grasp what's going on, even though we give an overview and explain to you what happens, but you can see, oh wow, this is where this is going, this is the path. It's really helpful. At the same time, if you in week 8 and you have a student in week 1 or 2 asking a question, you notice, oh man, I actually know the answer to this. I struggle with this too. And you can ask the question, you can actually volunteer to answer the question. So we really have good discussions going on in our weekly office hours. And oftentimes there's alumni coming too. After the program, they're welcome to join our office hours, and they oftentimes give really good advice, especially to career seekers or people who want to build their own application. Now, the final question is always like, hey, you know, what do I get out of this? What are the skills that I can do, right? And so I usually answer with this. You think of an idea, a web application that you want to build. After the Firehose project, you can spend a weekend, a couple days, and you can build that application, push it live on the internet, and start testing those assumptions if people actually love that, whatever it is that you build, right? So me, I would build a forecasting tool for surfing because I love surfing. So I can test that. I can build that now and test, do people love that? Do I actually get growth? Do I actually get users interacting with my application? Those are the core skills, besides building and launching your own application or landing a job as a developer on a development team. So guys, again, reminder, ask me questions. I'm going to check right now. I already got a few and I want to get to them. And I'm answering them. I have about, like 10, 12 minutes left. And I know there's a lot of questions, so I'm going to go through them. So I'll check if I got any questions. Lots of you guys are watching. I can see that is on. Let me quickly check on my questions. Okay, cool. Here's a good one. How many hours per week do I need to dedicate to the program? That's a really good question. Okay, we ask our students 15 hours per week, 1-5, is the minimum that we want students to dedicate to the Firehose project. I say shoot for 20. If you want to land a job, I'd say shoot for about 20 to 25. There's a lot of students that put in 40+ hours per week into the program. Everything works, right? If you have less time, we can adjust your schedule for it. If you have more, we give you more challenging things to do. But literally think about like, yeah, between 15 and 20, that's what you should do. If you have more, even better. So you can totally do that part-time. You can do that on the weekends. You can do that in the evenings. You can also, a lot of people do it full-time and they quit their job completely, or some students keep their job for the first month, then they quit their job and actually continue full-time with the Firehose project, realizing how big the value is that they get out of it when they put more time into it. So it really depends on how much you put into it, and I encourage you to put in as much time as you can into it because it will pay back. What technologies will I use? Do that just quickly. It's like, we do Ruby on Rails, Ruby the programming language, Rails the framework. We do web development. So that also means we need to get really good at databases. So Postgres we're using as our database. You will learn how to write SQL queries really well. We have a separate section on that. I mentioned we do test-driven development. That's really important to us. It's a standard in the industry, and we encourage all our students to do that. Push them to do that during the group projects as well, writing tests before writing features. We do GitHub and Git for version control, Heroku, our server. We also teach you JavaScript and jQuery, so we can actually make things happen without page refreshes. I think learning how to use Git in an advanced way. So we have branches and how to actually merge and fix merge conflicts, really advanced stuff. We need to do that as well because that's what you're doing in the real world. I think that pretty much covers it. Obviously, you're going to learn mobile first development as well, and HTML and CSS, right? We need to make things look good. I told you at the beginning, you need to pull out your phone and be like, hey, this is what I built last night. And your friend should say nothing else but, wow, this looks awesome. I can't believe you did that. That's what we're shooting for. So you're definitely going to get those front-end skills as well. It's full stack. What else do we got? Oh, mentors. Who are your mentors? Experience level. Yeah, that's a really good question. Our mentors taught before. They tutored people before. Their level of experience, senior web developers. Give you an example. The former head of engineering from Flickr and Bitly, that link shortener that you use when you use Hootsuite or Twitter, that guy is mentoring our students right now. A senior web developer over from PayPal is tutoring ours. The CTO from a Techstars company is tutoring our students, right? These are people you don't even have access to under regular circumstances. These are guys that will tutor you and spend that hour with you every single week and help you learn what you need. So that's kind of the experience level we're looking at. Right now, how many are there? I think there's 5 total right now. We're looking to bring on more mentors, but at the same time, we really select if you really gotta be kick-ass to be a mentor at the Firehouse Project. And that's how we're selecting our mentors. There's a lot of training going on for the mentors as well, and we have no problem turning mentors away if they're not high quality. So we never match a student with a mentor if we don't think that mentor is awesome. Let's see, what else? Wow, you guys have a lot of questions. How are the materials presented? And there's a few more coming in. Great. Materials are presented in multiple ways. They're written guides, right? It's a lot of written. People ask me, why is that? Why no videos, right? So written guides are really important because in the real world, to be a self-sufficient developer, you're always going to read documentation by other developers, be it on an open source project, be it on pulling some open source code into your own application, use it for your own good. This is always written. The sooner you get comfortable using written documentation, the better. That's the one reason. The other reason is you can use the written documentation a lot better for reference down the line, right? You got 6 months out of the program, you're gonna come back and you say like, I need to know how to do email notifications, right? I kind of forgot, but I know I've done it with the Firehouse guys. You can come back there, log into your account, you can find that within 2-3 clicks, and you go in there, oh, that's the line of code I need. Great. With a video, you would have gone back and forth for forever and it would have been a mess. So that's why written documentation or written guides work really well. We obviously have a lot of videos too, but we give those videos to you at the point that you need it in your learning experience, right? There's videos that show the overview. It's like, how does object-oriented programming work? There's videos on test-driven development. There's videos on how the individual pieces, model view controller, fit together on a web application, right? What about databases? What about routes? We can explain a lot better in videos. So it's a combination of both. The coding is mostly written guides. The overall explanation is videos. But together they work really, with the mentorship session, office hours, and the support forum, they work together as one whole. Okay, what else we got? I love the questions. Keep them up. I love these questions. You've got all of those. Let's go to some more over here. All right, Tom has asked me a lot of questions. Here we go. Okay, how many mentors, level experience? Thomas, I think I already answered that. How often is the material updated? Material is updated, say weekly. We just updated a few things that a lot of students were not clear about, so we update that. We usually see that really well in the forum, right? So there's a section that students have a problem with. If 2-3 students have a problem at the same spot in the curriculum, we immediately update that. So all the students coming afterwards, we realize they don't have that, they don't ask that same question. So that's why the forum works really well for us, to consistently update our materials, right? Same goes right now. We're putting in an additional module that actually is a challenge section of building something really complicated without a lot of guidance. We do that very late in the program, and that's what we're building right now as well. So there's consistent updates to the material, I'd say on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. So it happens a lot. How many times per week do students meet with their mentor? Thomas already answered that, once a week, and that's because you have a lot of work beforehand that you need to get through to be optimally prepared for your mentorship session. Is it always the same mentor? Yes. We always keep your mentor going through the entire program. Obviously, if you don't like that mentor, it's never happened, you can ask for a new one. But generally, yeah, you should always have the same mentor because that mentor knows exactly where you are, knows the challenges, and knows how to help you. Can you send me links to website and apps students have done? Yes, whoever wants to see something, I can send the technical training platform for you guys. I can send some of the Yelp clones. I can also send like a breadth of other projects that go really deep into technical backend that people have done. I can share that with you. Whoever wants one, email me and I'll send them out to you. I think I got one other question. I hope this is helpful for you guys. Thomas, I hope I answered all your questions. Also, if you think of questions like in half an hour or an hour, and you're like, oh man, I wish I would have asked Mark that question, just email me. You guys all have my email and reach out. Okay. All right, Max asked me, why do you guys use Ruby versus Python? You focus, okay, so Ruby versus Python. We do Ruby on Rails, right? Two different programming languages, Ruby and Python, two different frameworks. Rails, so Ruby on Rails, Django, the web development framework for Python. It doesn't matter which one you're using, right? We have a student right now who interviewed for a Python developer job after our bootcamp, gotten a job offer. And he's getting a job offer not because you can build a web application, not because you can write Ruby or Python code. It's because you can solve problems on the whiteboard, real problems that they have writing code. Teaching you how to use Python instead of Ruby isn't that complicated. Teaching you how to write good code to solve a complicated challenge, that's the hard part. That's what we're here for. It doesn't quite matter which one you're learning. We choose Ruby on Rails because for web development environment, it is a lot faster to implement. It's a lot better in our opinion. But we are opinionated, right? Other people will tell you a different story. We do Ruby on Rails, we think it's the best. Do we focus on Amazon servers or Heroku? Both. We use Heroku, and then we also use for our to push up our web application live, and then we use also Amazon AWS services for image storing. So you're gonna learn both with us. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I got another good one. What's the application process? That's a good one. I'm gonna go through that. Here's how this works. We want people to do some pre-work before they start the classes with us. Any coding bootcamp, online or in person you sign up, you should go and figure out if you actually like how to code. It's really important, right? You do not want to go and be that guy who applies to medical school, gets in, and then realizes halfway through, well, I don't like seeing blood, but if once I work in a hospital, I'm gonna see a lot of that, so that's not cool. Same goes with coding. Figure out if you actually like how to code before you want to do this as a profession or actually build your own application, because guess what? You're gonna write a lot of code. So figure that out before, that's really important. So if you have some coding background already, if you have a GitHub profile, if you already did like an HTML page with CSS, something like that, or wrote some Ruby scripts, send them to me, attach them to an email, right? That's how we can get started. I can then determine your level of coding, and I can then understand where we need to get you, what we need to give you, and from there, we can actually adjust our curriculum a lot to your personalized needs. So send me coding samples. If you don't have any, if you need pre-work, let me know. We in the midst of building a course for that, but right now I have several really good resources that you guys can go through and actually build that in a challenge you, and we see how that works. So you can figure out, do I like coding? And also like, oh, here's something that I completed. I actually built something. I put something live online, right? So we have some resources, so email me about that. After I looked at your code, right, we're gonna jump on an individual call. I wanna make sure that we align, right? I wanna make sure that I wanna hear your goal, and I wanna make sure that we can reach that goal together. It's really important to us. And really honest and straightforward with this. This isn't marketing. This is figuring out, do we have what you need? And if we have so, we have a great match. And that's how we get people in the program. Coding samples, talking to me, and then we get you started and change your world and teaching you all the skills that you need. Cool. What else do we got? Let's see, maybe one over here. All right, I have another question here. All right, so have you taught designers successfully how to code? Believe it or not, we actually taught at Rhode Island School of Design. 28 people were there, and we taught 28 designers how to actually build a web application. Although that was an in-person course, but yeah, we know how to do that. Do we have designers right now into our program? Yeah, several, and they're all learning how to code. So that's always really interesting for us, people who are really visual-minded, because they actually come up with great designs that maybe us as full-stack developers would have not come up with. So it's really interesting to combine that aesthetic sense for design, for fonts, for space on a website, in a web application with the actual coding skills. Really powerful. If you're a designer, I encourage you to learn coding because it will enable you to do so many more things from the very beginning to the very end of seeing a live application. So yes, we've definitely taught designers how to code before. All right, good question, Max. Let's see what else we got. Anything else over here? Cool, guys. You should keep asking me questions. Okay, Tony asked me, what are some of the websites that students from the Fires project have built? Those are mostly web applications, and I email them to you right after this session, so you can take a look at them. It's usually like what I like to show is like a breadth of all the different applications that people have built. So we're talking about, this is a simple application like a Yelp clone. Here's something that people are building a group project, right? Here's like one of our students, Brian, built a one-line bash script installer that installs the web development environment on your machine a lot easier. So that's really deep and technical, and you can look at the whole of Ruby code that he built, right? Those are things that I like to share as like the breadth. It's not just applications, but actually deep understanding of how code works and what you can do with it. So good question. Sent those links out. Maybe I sent them out to all of you guys. Let's see. I think that's all. Another one. Okay, Max. Thanks a lot. Yep, got that, guys. When you think like, where does he get all these these things from? I'm literally checking in my email, right? If you guys don't want to use the box right below, it's all good. Works for me. Let's see. Do I have another one? If not, we can wrap this up fairly quick. Oh, here's some success stories. Great. Yeah. What have students done? Like, what happens after the program, right? So we always stay in touch with our students afterwards. As I said, our alumni regularly come to our office hours. We are part of our Google group, so they can interact with other students there. You also have a direct line to your mentor, to me, to the other mentors, and can ask questions, right? That's something we provide. We spend about an hour or 2 hours per week with our alumni on the phone. But what are some success stories, right? One thing I want to tell is like one of our students over in LA. He only has a high school diploma. He never went to university. He sold cars, used cars in a parking lot. And he came to us and he asked if he could help him become a web developer. He had very little background. He had some HTML, had some CSS, but he had to drive. Right now, this guy works 12 weeks later, 13 weeks later. This guy works for a startup writing code for a living, right? And he's going to get more job offers from bigger tech companies because he's interviewing right now, but he already accepted his first job and he loves it, right? So this guy, like, he's an immigrant from Mexico, came to the US and sold, not only high school, right? And he sold these cars, and now he's a web developer, and he just thanks us and like, hey, you changed my life. And that's something that we're really like, this is what we're shooting for, right? Another student is in Munich, in Germany, and he went through our program, and he said he got 4 job offers after he started applying. And he actually, props to him, he turned down the best offer and told them, nah, I don't want that, knowing he had 3 other ones, and then got a counter offer from them immediately the next day and then accepted it on a Saturday morning. And he now works for Enernaut. That's a huge tech company that's headquartered in Boston. And he's writing Ruby. He's a Ruby on Rails web developer there, and he's writing the platform to analyze the energy efficiency of grids and home appliances. Right? That's something awesome. Like we're super proud of our alumni, and I'm getting chicken skin just telling you guys these stories. And that's what we do. We change people's life, and we make awesome people. That's on our website, and we live by that. That's not marketing. So those are some of the success stories that we have. There's obviously a lot more, but these are the 2 that I always like highlighting. Okay, let me check. We got anything else? Will we have a portfolio to when we complete? Oh yeah, definitely you're gonna have a portfolio. Hold on, who asked me this? Oh, David asked me this. Yeah, David, definitely gonna have a portfolio when you go through this, right? So we show you how to build a portfolio website. That's something simple. That's something you crank out in like 3-4 hours after you're halfway through the program. And you've built all these applications, right? You built 3 core applications. A lot of students build their own application, their own idea on the side while they go through the group project. So you have for sure 3 applications that you built. That's good for a portfolio. That's all lives on your GitHub. All these communications during the team project, group project, you have as a reference, so technical people can actually look at your code and see how you interacted with other people. And then if you build a 5th application on the side, which we encourage you if you have the time to, then you have 5 solid applications that you built throughout the program. And that's more than enough. You put that on a nicely looking portfolio page, and you're good to go. So yeah, definitely have a portfolio. It's a good question, David. All right, one more. All right, so Tony asked me, do you help build a strong portfolio after you're done with the program to help with job finding? Yeah, I guess Tony and David just asked the same question. So yes, you're gonna get a good portfolio. I mean, those are the core applications that you're gonna build from the core curriculum. They help you with your portfolio. You'll have a solid GitHub portfolio, and there's also a lot more than just building the web applications that are visual. We're also gonna run you through a lot of coding exercises to get really good at writing Ruby code. And you should push that up to GitHub as well. There's a lot of interview questions that we have and a lot of coding scripts that we want you to write. Like, we teach you how to write algorithms, right? That's something you need to know. Like, that also goes in your GitHub. So it's not just the visual stuff that other people can see that impresses maybe, you know, people who don't know how to write code that well and say, oh, this looks really nice and I can use this. It's also like the deep technical skills that you're gonna get that's also gonna be reflected on your portfolio, on your GitHub profile. So great question, Tony and David. What else? There was one more. Man, these coming in, I love it. Can we do some cool CSS jQuery animations? Max, yeah, we can do. This depends on where you want to go, right? So we have some good jQuery animations and drag and drop where we teach you JavaScript. So yeah, we can do that. But oftentimes it's like, you know, we need to figure out what you really want, what your goal is. There's multiple ways to go in there. If you don't have a lot of experience coding, there might be a much faster or better way of going there. So yeah, whatever works, we're going to do that. And your mentor can pair program and teach you how to do that if that's one skill that you really want to do. So definitely. Yeah, David, yes. I was talking about that student. Don't want to mention names, but I know you talked to some of our students and they told her you should talk to us, and you came to the info session, so I'm really stoked about it. And I actually had a conversation with one of our alumni who referred you as well. So yes, I was talking about all this. So your answer is yes, but I don't want to name names of students just to protect their privacy. Okay, that's it pretty much. I think I got everything. I'm gonna check one more time on the question box right underneath me. Where did I go? Here we go, see about everything. Good, guys. Bit over. This was a blast. I hope I could answer all you guys' questions. If there's anything that comes up that you guys want to talk afterwards, reach out to me. You guys all have my email, marco@thefirehoseproject.com. Ask me more questions. Send me your coding examples. Ask for pre-work if you want it. Happy to give that to you guys. Just help you guys out, right? And then we can jump on a hangout, figure out your individual goals, and see when we can start. Oh, this is a good question that just came in. Like, how do you guys start? When does the next class start? We start students every Monday on a rolling admission basis. So every new Monday, new students are starting, right? So you can start potentially next Monday. Will be a bit tight because we got to check out your code and make sure everything is set before we're starting you. But that will be potential. Actually, we might be full for the next Monday already. So the Monday afterwards, we always got to see if we have availability, making sure everything is set for you guys. So yeah, every Monday we start new students. Cool, guys, this was awesome. I'll do one more quick check, see that I didn't miss any questions, but I think we're good. No, there's more coming in. Okay, David, nice. David also already wants to jump on a Google Hangout with me. Yeah, we'll do that right after. I'll reply back and we'll figure something out, time that works for both of us. Guys, in the meantime, stay awesome. Thumbs up for coming tonight. And yeah, stay dry. It's pouring in Boston and I'm gonna get soaked as soon as I leave this place. Take it easy, stay awesome. Talk to you later.